Okay, so we need to do some review slash introduction of multiplication and division. So multiplication and division are opposite operations in a way, but they could also work together. And multiplication, when you think about multiplication, the thing that you need to think about with multiplication is some number is repeating over and over again. So what I mean by that, if you think about it in terms, so maybe as a high school kid, you get hired to work for a town or a city, and they have 10 parks. And at each park, and that's another clue word for multiplication or division. This one is a clue word for both. But they have 10 parks, and at each park they have 5 benches that need to be painted. How many benches would you have to paint in all? So sometimes kids get really confused because they're used to being trained to hear those clue words for addition. Well, a lot of the same clue words are for multiplication, because multiplication is repeating a number over and over again, and you want to add them all up to see how many you have or how many you have to do. So in this case, 10 parks, you have 10 parks and there's 5 benches that each that you need to paint. You need to be visualizing 10 parks. Now, are parks perfectly rectangular? Of course not. But we're in 3rd grade now, so I don't need to take time out to draw this beautiful park to visualize what's happening in this problem. So I'm going to just draw rectangles. You could draw circles to visualize my 10 parks. So I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 parks. And then I know there's 5 benches at each park. So again, I'm not going to sit out and draw 5 benches. I'm going to just go ahead and write the number 5 because I know that represents 5 benches at each park. So as I'm doing this, there should be a light bulb going off in my brain that 5 is repeating over and over again. So this tells me that this is a multiplication problem. And we have 5 times 10, which means we have 5 10 times. So I see that 5 repeating over and over again. I know I want to add them all up. I know that's multiplication. Now, if we think in terms of division is a little bit different. So division usually start with a bigger number. Well, in some cases, it might be smaller. It might be only 6. But whatever number you start with, you are going to break it up. So you're going to break up some number into teams. You're going to share it into different groups. But no matter what you're doing, you're putting it into groups. So let's say I have 40 jelly beans, and I want to divide it up into 8 bags for special students coming up for some birthdays or whatever it may be. So I'm starting with 40 and I'm going to divide it up into 8, but I don't know how many that's going to make in each bag. So how you do that is you make 8 circles. Sorry, I need to let the dog out. Okay, so you make 8 circles because that's how many groups you're dividing your 40 up into. So we have our 40 jelly beans and we're dividing into 8 groups or 8 bags in our case, goodie bags. And I always like to sort out. So some kids over the years, and I apologize to my first few years of students that I taught this way, but like to count out by ones. So let's just do that really quick. And all you do is you separate them out equally. So you can't give this one 2 and that one 1. You have to hand them out equally. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But I got to hand out all 40, so I'm going to keep going. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Oh man, I gotta keep going. I'm only at 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40. I made it to 40 and I can stop now. I sorted all of my 40 jelly beans out into my 8 bags or my 8 groups. So now, in order to see how much I have in each bag, all I have to do is count what's inside of one bag. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 inside of that one. I usually check a couple to make sure I did it right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, there's 5 inside of that one. 40 divided by 8 is equal to 5. I want to show you a smarter, more efficient way to do division. Because again, math isn't about being fast, but it is about being smart about how you work and more efficient. So we're going to use the same problem, and remember how long that just took me to do. 40 divided by 8. Same thing, I've sorted out into 8 circles, and I'm going to evenly distribute or break up this 40 into those 8 groups. Well, I know how to count my tens really well. So I always see if I can start off counting out 10 at a time instead of one at a time. So 10, 20, 30, 40. Oh, I can't do that because it has to be even. I would need at least 80 to be able to break out 10 at a time. So I'm going to go back. The next thing I usually like to try is 5s because I'm also really good at counting by 5s. So now I'm going to sort out that 40 counting by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20. Notice I'm putting 5s in each, but I keep counting up because I need to keep counting up to 40. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. So obviously we already knew that 5 was the answer or the quotient in this case. And but look at how much faster that was and more efficient that was, counting out by 5s rather than doing it by 1s. So let's do another one. This time, let's think in terms of groups. So I have 24 students, and I want to make 6 teams. So I want to divide my 24 students up into 6 different science teams. So I have 24. I need to break them up into 6 groups. So I'm going to go ahead and make 6 circles to represent my groups. I can see I can't count by 10s, but I'm going to try 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. 30 is too much, so I can't use 10s. I can't distribute the 24 out by 5s. I'm going to do the next best thing and count out by 2s. So count with me out loud. 2, 4, 6. Whoopsies, I should be writing 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And I always like to write 12 down here at the bottom. So in case I get stuck in my thoughts, that I can always come back and say, okay, the last 2s I gave out, I was at 12 when I added them all up. I'm going to cross that 12 out and keep counting. 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. So I made it. I passed out all 24 of my students into their teams. And then I just have to see how many students are in each group. 2, 4. 4. So there's 4 students in each group. So I am going to ask you that you create 2 word problems for multiplication and division. So create word problems on a sheet of paper and an answer key on a separate sheet of paper. 2 word problems for each operation. So 2 for the operation of multiplication and 2 for the operation of division. Good luck.